Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year. Today we've got a fan submission from a clanmate of mine, Slade X. He's up against LS's Black. Wood Elves versus Beastmen, very lore friendly matchup here. On a very, Altar of Ultimate Darkness. You guys know what the deal with Altar of Ultimate Darkness is. It's a bad map. For Black's Wood Elves, we've got Dryads and Eternal Guard in the front line. It looks like we've got some more Dryads or rather War Dancers and some more Eternal Guard in the back here. We've got a couple of units of Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards. That's a mouthful. I really like these in this matchup. The reduced range is obviously... usually you're giving up a fair bit of range, but the double shot projectiles is really hard on the missile strength, and you don't need a lot of AP here generally. We've got some Zotes in the back, so they've got a few bound abilities that they might come in with a little bit later. Some Glade Riders in the rear here, and leading the force we have a Branch Wraith hanging down here with one of the units of Eternal Guard, coming in with just, looks like, Earthblood, and then we've got Durthu. Very solid pick into the Beastman, a little bit risky with Taurox potentially running around with the flaming attacks, but he's coming in with a number of spells and abilities. Looks like he's got the Sword of Death, the Lamentation of Despair, which I always cut because it just has terrible issues with being obstructed. Foe Seeker, Transformation of Kadon, Flock of Doom, as well as Wild Heart Lore passive. So lots of hitting power. He's pretty tanky, pretty tough boy. Can get a lot of work done. There's also a Waystalker hiding away out here. Looks probably, from the looks of things, just with the Arrow of Kurnos and looks like the Hawkish Precision or whatever it's called, that does buff nearby shooting units. Yep, so a bit more AP. For Slade's force, it's very un-memey, which is not like Slade at all, but 4 or 5 units of Ungor Herd in the front with spears, as well as the Destroyers of the Drakwold, the ROR unit with their spears and poison attacks. They actually have really good melee defense, so they can stick in the fight for a decent amount of time. We've got a couple of units of Centaurs. A lot of them are out here on the flanks, I believe. Yeah, they're making a big flanking maneuver here, so 4 units of regular Centaurs, 5 maybe even here, and some poisoned Warhounds, and backed up by a ton of Ungor Raiders. Some more hounds out here on the flank. Groghools of Wolf's Run, pretty nice unit. Obviously going to be outranged by a lot of things here, so need to be careful, but they've definitely got some good targets, particularly with Durthu running around. Ungor Raiders, more Centaurs in the back here, and leading the force we have a Bray Shaman of Death, coming in with, looks like Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech, as well as the Jagged Dagger, and Morgur the Shadowgave. Still a good pick in this matchup. Good old Morgur, he's still getting around. He's got the Staff of Ruinous Corruption, as well as the Spirit Essence of Chaos, which does the automatic summon. So let's get into the battle. Waystalker's going to reveal themselves quite early. We're getting some volley fire here from the Arrows of Kurnos. Not doing a lot of damage, actually knocking the Bray Shaman down. Nice of Slade here to actually not bring it on the Chariot, because yeah, the Arrow of Kurnos really does do a number to Chariot characters with their funny hitboxes. And we see the machine gun fire here from the Swift Shiver Shards, breaking off these Chaos Warhounds very quickly. Zotes are going to jump in. It's not really where they want to be, even though they probably can win this fight. They're not great at killing. Infantry, and 60 armor when you've got an anti-large foe nipping at your heels, and just the amount of unit models, as you can see here, and even with the fire, despite the scaly skin coming down from the Ungor Raiders, is doing a bit of a number. But Glade Riders are going to relieve them, get some rear charges, and I think if one volley of these Deepwood Scouts does go into them, they're going to rout off very quickly. Groghoofs of Wolf's Run, though, great targeting there by Black. Definitely making use of the high DPS there from the magical ammunition. Over here, Slade's posturing up with his Centaurs. Definitely has a lot of openings to try and weave into, but there's not a lot of missile troops over this side, so just stock standard rear charges might be the order of the day here. Durthu's going to wade into the fight. Morgur's sort of waiting to pick his fight here. Looks like one of his spawn summons, or maybe even a Manticore summon. No, it is a spawn summon. Going to come down and help fight against the War Dancers. Not a bad matchup for them. War Dancers very lightly armored. Not the worst stats in the world. Obviously 40-38 is pretty solid for a sort of a chaff clearing unit, but lots of fire going into Durthu now, and the Groghooves have finally found their range with a good target. The Deepwood Scouts looks like has been pushed right back here, but despite that, Still finding some good targets in these Ungor Raiders. The Branch Wraith is going to come up and stop them from shooting and get them quite bunched up. So another volley here is really going to tank their health, and they're probably going to rout with that burst damage coming in. Durthu is getting really gutted down here. Just the weight of fire from the Ungors. They don't have a lot of AP. I think only 1 or 2 per shot, but yeah, he just it's just volume of fire here, and Morgur's nipping at the heels, pushing the Wood Elf force back. The Centaurs are doing a bit of a disrupting tool in the back. The Zotes, definitely can make use of their anti-large against them, but saving them, they may want to actually try and get in on these Chaos Spawn here and relieve the archers, because there's a lot of potential DPS here. They have actually lost some unit models off each, a lot of health, but still plenty of ammo left. But the Centaurs now, I think the bows are going to go quiet here. The Destroyers of the Drakworld poisoning them and slowing them, and I think that might be all she wrote for the Deepwood Scouts. Manticore coming down to try and snipe the Bray Shaman, and that's a very good use of the Manticore. Can then maybe turn its attention. It can probably actually kill this Bray Shaman in a couple of hits, but then we'll turn their attention to Ungor Raiders, who are very susceptible to terror routing. And in the back now, Centaur's doing the right thing. They're getting in, getting their charge bonus, pulling back. Spears on Glade Riders here is a good fight for the Beastmen. What's Durthu up to? Where is Durthu? Please tell me he hasn't gone down already. No, the Destroyers of the Drakworld, they're going to poke away at him, slow him down with their poison. He's already very slow, but 30 speed means he's not going to be able to make any distance. And with the Centaurs, they're probably going to give their life here for to try and ensure that Morgur and the Destroyers of the Drakwood can continue to harass Durthu. Deepwood Scouts will unfortunately rout, but the Ungor Raiders now fairly unpressured. We're probably going to see this Manticore degen eventually, and it is doing its best to finish off the Bray Shaman. Right call there. Make sure there's no more magic on the field. Hound's just babysitting the Ungor Raiders here. There are a unit of Dryads, which could certainly make some pretty quick work of him. And unfortunately, the Bray Shaman does manage to rally as the Feral Manticore, summoned Manticore, does go down. Waystalker is continuing to kite back. Certainly has some stuff to plink away at. Probably wants to actually finish off the Bray Shaman. Don't really want to be using your ammo on Morgur with the Waystalker, because he is very resistant to missiles. And over here we have just a big pit fight forming. Haven't really seen any sort of dates yet. Probably have been used at this stage, but we haven't managed to pick them up. Flesh to Stone is going to put Durthu's armor through the roof, but 1 AP is still 1 AP, whether you're rocking 110 armor or 170 armor. Spirit Leech will go down and tick some damage away, but he's getting quite low, and the Branch Wraith may have to put a few heals in if she can spare it. Nice use of the final arrows of Kurnos cast. Once again, unfortunately, the knockdown effect is going to stop most of the damage from being taken, and really didn't do anything to its leadership or anything. So the Ungor Raiders here starting to run a little low on ammo, but still just very healthy model-wise, and with enough spears just to block up the infantry from being able to push through. Durthu going down here would be massive for the balance of power. You can see obviously the good old Beastman balance of power syndrome is kind of in effect. It's always in effect right from the start. But the Zotes here potentially have a few heals possibly left. They're going to break off these Centaurs very quickly. I'd say that, how is their leadership so high? They are nearly dead, and there's a Terror Causer right nearby, but good on them. They probably got their leadership bonus from that little charge that you do get. Bray Shaman is clinging to life. 169, 100 more than the nicest amount of HP, but yeah, leadership in the toilet, so not sure we're going to see him back. In the back here, the Groghoofs have somehow managed to stabilize. Some tattered Dryads and some Ungor Raiders may be able to use the last of their ammo, just finishing off those Dryads. Some Centaurs are going to be coming back in here, but it's basically all about, can Durthu get maybe a good Flock of Daith and a good Flock of Doom rather, and Sword of Daith, just to pile the damage into the Ungor Raiders and then allow the terror that he can cause to possibly carry the day. Morgur is also very low, so 1 or 2 hits from Durthu in on Morgur could potentially finish him off and be a big hit on the balance of power. Lamentation of Despair, one of the most useless abilities in the game, and there you go, doing almost nothing to a unit of Ungor Raiders. We will see a Sword of Daith going down here. It is going to tank the armor of a number of these Beastmen units. Not that they had a lot to start with, yeah, all down to 0 armor, but yeah, it's causing some issues, definitely causing some issues for the Ungor Raiders. And if Durthu can get some good RNG here, his flesh has been turned from flesh into wood into stone, and he is rocking 170 armor, but 500 HP is only a hit or two away from being routed, particularly when you're being focused down by Ungor Raiders as well. But the Dryads may be able to push them off, and who knows what can happen from here. The Zotes here, if they can land a couple of hits on Morgur is immune to psychology, but that, still can be naturally routed. Flesh to Stone, or Foe Seeker rather, will give him some vigor back, but there's a Flock of Doom going down on these Ungor Raiders, and Durthu's just sticking in there. The Waystalker is also not the worst combatant, 55-45 and decent weapon strength. Should probably actually be chasing Morgur with the Waystalker, but Black here is looking pretty good, and really the only thing holding the balance of power now together for the Wood Elves, you'd suggest, is probably Durthu. So any damage you can get into him here, push him into routing. There are some very, very tattered units of Centaurs hanging around. Morgur is regenerating, which is nice for the Beastmen. It's holding them in the fight, and even though we have said, probably don't want to be shooting him with his missile resistance, now is probably the time where you probably think, yeah, that is the key target for us at the moment. When he goes down, obviously leadership penalties for Lord losses. He still has, plenty of ammunition, 5 ammunition. Levitation of Despair once again doing very, very little. I think it's better on single entities, but Morgur's just, he's still here, 300 HP. Durthu, I think he's trying to get at him now, but Dryads, what happened to those Zotes? There's the one remaining Zote. Well, that Zote's not coming back. As we take a bit of an overarching look at this terrible, terrible map, there are 37 Dryads out here, which could be pretty big for the Wood Elves. Some Eternal Guard here being chased off by some tattered remains of Ungors. Probably not much for them to do at the moment. And the Ungor ROR does get terror out, and Durthu is just... He's putting this game on his back. He's threatening to carry this hard for the Beastmen. I don't know if these Ungor spears are going to be able to last too long under pressure from Durthu, but here comes Morgur. Morgur probably knows at this stage it's one hit. He can be a one-hit wonder here. 600 HP. He's probably... Durthu's getting scared of a mutated cow chasing him. Durthu probably just needs to chance his arm here and try and turn and fight. If he can get a good hit down, then he might be able to rout Morgur, and this is the game right here, particularly with the Waystalker coming in. Durthu does fall, but the Waystalker now can probably finish off Morgur, and I'm not sure how the Beastmen pull this out now, because that's pushing all their army into wavering. There's no more ammo left holding the balance of power together. The Waystalker now doing the work of the gods here, has used all of its ammunition. 23 kills. We'll wait on the how much damage value they've got in the end of the game. That is a brilliant win. That really is a well-played victory. It looked for the longest time like Black was really on the ropes there. This is the first time I've watched this replay as well, so I didn't know how this would end, but Durthu has just clung to life for as long as humanly possible and managed to really put the game on his back and just be basically the linchpin around which the Wood Elves could hold. 1.3 is not massive value for Durthu. He's quite expensive character. But the Branch Wraiths come in with a couple of heals. The Waystalker, that's good value. I think with just the Arrow of Kurnos, they only cost about 650 or 700. So definitely some good work there. We did see that Manticore as well from Durthu, so maybe we should cut him some slack on being a little bit undervalue on his damage value, because he did put a lot of damage into that Bray Shaman. But yeah, really well played here from Black. Managed to just stay in the game and scrap. It looked like at a number of occasions that this was pretty much winding down to a defeat. But Morgur's been solid. Not sure if this spawn were really able to do a lot in this matchup, just because the Wood Elves sort of retreated away once they were summoned. But yeah, Bray Shaman, solid value. I'm pretty sure it had Fate of Buna on it as well, so I'm not sure if there was a Buna put down here, but we did see a couple of Spirit Leeches on Durthu. Ungors have just been a bit of a meat shield. Ungor Raiders, though, I'm assuming, have been pretty big. Yep, all getting really big value. And this is, spoken about them on the channel several times, just the weight of fire is really something to take into account with Ungor Raiders. They don't have the highest missile strength, and they certainly don't have a lot of AP. I think it's only 1 or 2 per ammunition, but yeah, it adds up. And with a target like Durthu, which can't really dodge ammunition very well, and doesn't have combat animations, which sort of naturally dodge for him when he's fighting, like say a dragon or a Stegodon or something like that. They definitely got their money's worth. Centaurs have been just a harassment tool all got decent value, but nothing spectacular. But definitely did get in and cause some interruption. But the Groghool's had a bit of a tough game. Likewise, the Hounds. But again, it's just a pressure tool more so than anything else. Nice value on the Swift Shivers. I do like them in this matchup. I think you should commit to them. I think if you're going to go them, you go 3 or 4 and you try and protect them because they do. If you concentrate their fire, they really can burst down pretty much anything in this list very quickly. Like even just if they're shooting into shields, doesn't matter. They'll melt Ungor Raiders. They'll melt Centaurs. Pretty tougher to use, obviously with their limited range, but definitely a very strong unit. And Zoats, I'd love to love Zoats, but they're just really, that's a pretty good game for a unit of Zoats, to be honest. But yeah, big kills on the infantry, most of them getting their value back. And Durthu just hanging in the fight. So well played, Black. Bad luck to Slade. This is a very meta Slade build. It's a very unslayed build. We're used to seeing some of the most epic memes you'll ever see from him. But I did pinch this from the XMT Discord, and he said it was a good game. So good on him for putting out a game out there where he was the loser, but a good game for everyone to watch. So thanks for everyone who came by to check it out, and thanks to these two legends for playing it. We'll be back with more soon, but until then, take care.